of who your target audience. So, I mean, you should probably get a sense of who you're writing for, who your audience is. And I would say about the marketing plan, sure. I mean, if you want to put it together, yes, but we don't think it's mandatory to have a marketing plan because a lot of it also evolves as you go along. A lot of it is defined by the publisher.
Sure.
What you should have is probably a sense of who your audience is.
Right.
That helps.
Okay.
And oh yes, one other thing is it is useful for an agent to know right at the beginning if the book is under submission or under consideration with publishers,
Right.
because it actually is a smallish circle. At the end of the day, we are going to go back to the same people.
Right.
So it would be good to know if it's already there. And there are many instances where a book's been submitted and after that an agent comes into the picture. That's fine. But
Okay.
It's sort of good to know the lay of the land for us.
Okay, so you told us what to do, but what's a definite turn off in a proposal? What's the one thing that just like you look at it and you say, forget it?
I think that's, I mean, I don't like being harsh because everyone's invested emotionally or a lot in the way they send proposals. But I would say for us, I think a red flag would be if it's too long without actually having a synopsis. If it does not explain the plot well, if there's inadequate information. So I think a proposal should really be succinct and coherent is what we'd say. But beyond that, I mean, honestly, even if I shouldn't say this, my colleagues will kill me, but even if the proposal is not really, it doesn't fulfill all the criteria, but we're blown away by the writing, we will get back and say, listen, we'd love to talk further on your book and what's happening.
Okay, great. And so are there stories of writers who've been discovered by lit agents, or maybe somebody who's really now made it big, who was actually discovered or brought to light by a literary agent? Anything like that? I was just curious.
Yeah. Well, I think the most famous one really was the one where Arundhati Roy and David Godwin worked together.
Right.
He fell in love with the God of Small Things, and I think they went on to self-publish, and then the book went on to win the Booker, go to a traditional publisher. But having said that, I think, I mean, it's hard to pinpoint one because now, I mean, even if I were to look at a suitable agency, for instance, 50% of our books are new voices. A lot of them are books that we are picking up from submissions.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's interesting. I think the one thing that's been very exciting for us to discover is the amount of good writing that's happening. I think what's also happened is this past year, people have had more time to write or more time to finish their projects. So that's interesting to see. But I think, I mean, the only really famous one I can think of in India is the Arundhati David Godwin story.
I had no idea, so that's very interesting. That's quite fascinating. So I know we'd shared a list of questions. I had a couple of other questions also which I wanted to add in, but the one which has really been doing the rounds and I'm wondering about is I'm getting very conflicting views from people about what's the status of or the impact of the the pandemic on publishing. Some people are saying publishing is really going slow. People are pushing out book deals. They're not publishing. But some people that we talk to, I don't know whether they're genuinely having a great time or they're just putting on a brave face. But they're saying stuff like, everything's fine and we are actually getting better deals. And I've signed more book contracts during the pandemic than I did earlier. So how are you seeing it? What's really going on? I mean, I guess, sorry, I just want to add one thing. I'm thinking about it more from the perspective of, we are all first-time writers here. And if I had to take my a book to an agent, is this a good time? Should I hold off? What would you suggest we do based on, what you're seeing?
Well, given that the suitable agency was actually born during the pandemic, and we've actually received a fair number of proposals and submissions. I think, so there are different ways of looking at this. I think from an author's point of view, it's been prolific. A lot of authors have finished their projects. A lot of authors have written. From a publishing point of view, it's a bit of a mixed bag because what has really happened is that it's not that books aren't selling, books are selling. And books are selling internationally as well. Books are selling in India. But what really is selling is because a lot of the purchases have moved online. So people are mostly ordering on, Amazon or Flipkart. I think what really is happening is that a lot of the bestsellers are selling. what this means is that discoverability for a new book is not as great as it used to be at the moment, because the physical bookstores used to aid that a lot. But having said that, it's so for multinational publishers, for larger publishers, it's been okay really, because they have had this whole bunch of books that have continued to sell. They have had a lot of international titles that have continued to sell. I think for the smaller publishers or for the independent publishers, it's been a bit more of a rough road. But having said that, books people are buying. I mean, people are reading, people are buying, and that's the sense we get. Okay. In terms of submissions, we have, well, also because at a suitable agency, we are quite selective in what we represent. We've got almost, and I say almost because the last one is being negotiated, we have 100% conversion rate. All the books that we represent have been picked up by publishers.
Nice, so, awesome.
Yeah, I think when there is a new voice, or where there's a standout voice, it will find a publishing home.
Okay, great. So I have one last question for Himali, and then I'm going to open it up for Q&A. So folks, if you guys have questions for her, you can start shooting them into the chat. But Himali, my last question was, what's your advice for writers? What would you like to say to them? You have about 5 of them here, all yours. So tell us.
I would say the most important thing is don't get discouraged and don't give up. A rejection is not the end of the road. There are many stories of people not finding a publisher or not finding a platform right at the beginning. But that shouldn't discourage you from writing. So please continue to write. The other thing I would say is read. I mean, it's great to know what's happening. I mean, writing is an art as much as, anything else. So read and find out, especially if you're writing nonfiction, for instance, find out what's happening in that area, find out what's happening in that genre.
Right.
And I think the other thing I would say is be receptive to feedback. It always helps. So, I mean, see who you are actually showing the book to, but always be open to feedback in terms of both the pitch and the manuscript. But again, like I said, writing is, as we know, quite a solitary exercise. It can be lonely. It can be quite discouraging if you initially don't find the response you're looking for. And the only thing I can say is don't let that get you down. If you're passionate about writing and you have a good book, just persevere. Don't give up.
Okay. So one is to persevere, and the second is to do your research, especially if you're talking about nonfiction. So make sure you know what's happening in the marketplace. All right, great. So as expected, we have an overload of questions already. So I'll try and sift through these. The first one's pretty simple. How long does an agent take to revert on a submission?
So we normally take about 4 weeks. And that is primarily because we have an open submission policy, and we go through every submission that's made to us. Within 4 weeks, we'll be able to get back to you on whether we think we want to take the proposal further. And then after, I mean, it's not a short process. After that, we'll work with you on the submission. We'll give you editorial advice. We send it out to publishers. But the first level of response for us is around 4 weeks. We're trying to see if we can shorten it. But to be honest, we are committed to reading every manuscript, so it does take that long.
I'm going to skip your second question, Ram, because you've asked success rate. Himali's already shared her agency's success rate with us. So we'll come back to that afterwards if we have time. But post-publishing, what kind of help or assistance does an agent offer, such as ensuring on-time payments or helping with promotions, etc.?
So everything that you mentioned. At a suitable agency, I think one of the things that we believe very firmly is that it's very important to get the book a publisher, but that's a part of the whole. So right from the conversation around how the book will be packaged, to marketing, to visibility, to royalties, to different formats, audio. I mean, now there are so many possibilities for a book the trajectory has just widened so much. So we actually, in short, like to invest ourselves and work with the author through the entire trajectory of the publishing of the book. And that is also the reason why we are selective. We don't take on too many books. It's simply because we want to invest our time and be able to work with an author through the whole process.
And would you say that's true for literary agents in general?
I don't know. I hope so.
Okay.
And I think a lot of things are shifting because what has also happened is that now, I mean, if you look at OTT, just OTT, for instance, so many books are now being made into, into shows or into movies. That's an important part of the process. If you look at language rights, how the book can be available in different parts of, in different languages or even international markets, that's an important part of the process. So what we do believe in is that we want to be able to explore every possibility that a book can have. About other agents, I'm sure they do, but I won't be able to tell you
Well,
for sure.
yeah, on the payments thing, I think agents definitely follow up because agents get paid along with writers.
That's right.
So it's like their own payment. So I think that's a slam dunk.
That's right.
Then okay, the next question we have is Ram. Again, I want to come back on question 4. Shalini has asked a question: do agents in India call for pitches like festivals or contests, etc., like international ones on Twitter?
Yes, we do. We haven't done that too much, to be honest, because we were in the process of setting up, but we definitely are going to be doing that from time to time.
Okay. Mohit has an interesting question, which even I'm curious about: is if I've self-published a book, can I submit it to an agent?
I mean, you must know what you want the agent to do. When you say self-published, are you looking to move it to a traditional publisher? Then sure. I mean, we'd be happy to look at that. But what is it that you want an agent services for in that case? There are several self-published books which go on to find, mainstream publishers as well. And it's a case-by-case thing, but sure, we'd be happy. Conceptually, yes, we'd be happy to look at that.
Great. All right. So the next question from Sandhya Krishnan is actually linked to the question that Ram I had said we'd ask later, which is how long does a literary agent take to reply? Because Himali's specific question is, I'm at a bit of a loss. I've been signed up with a reputed literary agent for over a year now. The promise was an early deal as my book was relevant to the pandemic, but it's been a rocky road since. I know it might not be a great time for first time writers, but my struggle with the agency is with lack of communication and follow through on agreed action points. So will any other agent ever touch me now? I don't even know which publishing houses they've approached. It sounds like a really hard place which Sandhya is at. And it linked to it is a question saying, normally how long? I mean, if I'm a writer and I've given you a manuscript and you've signed me on as a literary agent, what is normal? What's the regular timeline for something like that?
There are two parts to this question. One is, how often do literary agents communicate? And the answer to that would be that if an agent has signed you on, then we would communicate you as regularly or every time you write to us. I mean, I would think that is the least that we should be doing.
Yeah.
The other slightly difficult or tricky part can be your thing about hearing back from the publisher. Now, I'm not quite sure. Like you say, you don't even know whether the book has been submitted or not. So I think what would really be useful for you to do is perhaps write to your agent, ask for a call, find out a plan of action. It is true that for a fairly significant period around last year and early this year, publishers were going a bit slow on new books. It could have been that. But I think what you should be doing is getting a clear line of vision on what has happened. An agent should be able to tell you that, and whether the book has been submitted at all, or whether the agent is waiting to submit at what he or she thinks is the right time.
So I want to dig a little deeper into this because Sandhya and I had a conversation about this. Now, this is not a newbie or somebody lightweight. This is a very well-known agency. I don't want to name names here, but this is a well-known agency, and yet it sounds very unlike. I mean, I've spoken to the folks also. It sounds very unlike them because months together, no responses. It's been 16 months into the deal. There's no clarity about who's been approached, who's not been approached, and they're also not willing to comfortably let her go. So one of the important questions is, can she walk away? Can she just take her manuscript to other agents? Can she exit that old contract and move to or shop it around and ask if somebody else is interested? Is that okay, or will that be one of the fears is that literary agents are very very well connected, and so is that going to become an issue? I'm asking for Sandhya.
No, this is purely conjecture and purely speculative on my part, but you actually are the author. You can do what you want to do. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. I think what would really be important for you to do before that, though, is do you have a signed contract with the agency, or is this all, has this all been verbally agreed?
No. I have a signed contract. Yes.
You have a signed contract. And you're saying that you haven't had any communication, or that you haven't had any specifics on the publishing or the pitch of the book?
So I do know that there were some initial submissions, but I haven't been getting updates for like 4 months now, and I've been asking meetings and stuff.
Again, I wouldn't know what the literary agent's particular considerations are, but to answer the larger question, yes, authors do move agents, and that's fine. I think it should just be very clear communication on both sides. And if you feel like you haven't actually had the level of support or response that you're looking for, you can definitely maybe just have that communication and say that you'd like to explore other avenues. We, in fact, recently had signed someone who had terminated her relationship with the previous agent and then come to us. So it does happen. But having said that, I don't know the larger situation. Like I said, it has been a bit of a tough time for agents to find publishers. So I think that one communication over email or setting up a conversation or saying that you're looking at other options might be a good thing to do.
Thank you. I've tried that, but I'll try again. Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you for that. I'm sure that's very helpful. Shankar has a question saying, can I send one manuscript to more than one agent, or do I need to wait for one agent to reject me before I contact another?
I find reject a very dangerous and a very sort of, not a nice word. You can send it to multiple agents as long as you tell the agent. I mean, we definitely appreciate, and one of the questions we ask on submission is, let us know if you've submitted it to any other agent or publisher. I think clarity of communication helps, but you can submit simultaneously as long as everyone who's involved is in the loop.
Right. Rita has a question. I've completed the manuscript and having, let's say, sent it to an agent, and then is everything taken care of, the cover, the editing, etc. Also, what takes an author, what does it take for an author to make it to the Amazon bestseller list? Let's not go into the Amazon bestseller list. We have a lot of information about that.
I think Chetan, you should be answering that now.
Yeah. That list, I'll send you the link. Go to the link that Namrata has shared just now. There's an FAQs there. You'll find some very interesting article links, but that Amazon bestseller list can be gamed just like SEO or anything else. So don't worry about the Amazon bestseller list. The answer is yes, you can buy your way into that. But the first question that she has is, having completed it, when it goes to an agent, then the cover, the editing, etc. Would you like to take that, Himali?
So yes, these are conversations that the publisher initiates, but an agent would be there through the entire process. So for instance, we are on the verge of publishing the first book that we had signed up, which is The Illuminated by Anandita Ghosh. And we've that book publishes on the 30th, and it's been getting a lot of advance praise. And we have actually been a part of every conversation with the publisher. And yes, we do that. I mean, think of us as not necessarily the bridge, but think of us as representing an author's interests. And so we collectively have that. We are there to have that conversation with the publisher.
The next is a popular and difficult question. So do you consider poetry? What do literary agents look for in poetry manuscripts, memoirs, creative nonfiction, pandemic trauma poetry, etc.?
So like I said, we consider all forms and all genres, but having said that, we are cognizant of the fact that poetry is a limited sort of, it gets published not as much as other genres do. And we do keep that in mind. Even the larger publishers will have maybe 2 or 3 slots for poetry books. We haven't come across any yet that we are representing. But I mean, like I said, we're open to it.
Krishna Kumar, can you mute yourself? Thank you. Okay, Deepa has a question. If someone writes different genres, do you like them to stick with one genre, or is it okay for same person to write kids, historical, nonfiction, etc.?
I mean, I think that there are many writers who write across genres. It's absolutely fine. It's a question of how well you actually are able to sort of, write in different genres. But in theory, yes, we don't say that you have to stick to a particular genre. And in fact, there are several authors who write, as an example, books both for children and for adults. Historical fiction, non-fiction, yeah, absolutely. I think what we will be evaluating would be the strength of the writing and the strength of the idea. So yeah.
Okay, Damayanti has a question saying, do literary agents share feedback if the manuscript is rejected? Again, the reject word is there, but yeah.
Not very detailed, to be honest, simply because we have very high volumes. But we would get back on why we think conceptually it doesn't work for us. Again, I mean, because we have a fair number of proposals coming their way to us, what we do is have a very detailed internal discussion, and then we get back to an author about why we broadly think it doesn't work. But to be honest, if we are actually turning down a book, then detailed feedback is not something that we are in a position to share at the moment.
Sure, fair enough. Mohit has a question which I think is already answered. Is a query letter and a book proposal really necessary? I think the answer is yes. We'll move to the next question that's already been discussed, and it's very much the industry practice. So if you don't, I mean, that's kind of the bare minimum that a literary agent expects you to do. Yeah. Nandini has a question. Do publishers or agents in India consider children's novels as standalone for ages 10 years and above? Or do they have to be pitched as a series? So it's like, can I write just one book, or does it have to be a series?
It's interesting you asked that, because I also used to be the publisher for Puffin and for Young Adult at Penguin Random House, and I was doing that for 5 years. I think a series is compelling for children's writing simply because it's that hook and children keep going back to it. And if you see a lot of popular novelists or writers for children do write series. But having said that, we absolutely consider standalone books as well. I don't think there's any doubt about that. There will be a lot of standalone. I mean, so even internationally, if I were to say Wonder, which is one of the most amazing books that I've read, that's a standalone book. That's not part of a series. In India, there are lots of books which are standalone, which are published. So yeah, it's if you have a series, great, happy to consider that. But we would evaluate the book on the strength of it standing alone as a good story.
Great, thanks. Raj has a very interesting question. He said, I was rejected by the suitable agency for my first book. Later, I realized it needed a lot of editing. So can I resubmit the book?
Is it edited now? If it is, then
I assume, I mean, we assume that after editing, he's saying, can I approach you again with the edited version of the same manuscript with the same title?
Yes, you can.
All right.
As long as there has been a significant change, and you think that you've actually gone through a process which makes it different from what the first submission was, please do. We'll evaluate on the basis of the latest submission.
Sure. Then Parminder has a question saying, how fleshed out should the manuscript be for an agent to provide feedback? Will it be okay to provide the concept, chapter outlines, and past articles written for you to judge the quality of writing to provide feedback? He's talking about nonfiction. Is that right, Parminder? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, yes, but a sample of how an author writes is always very, very helpful, because the idea and the research is one part of what we are considering, but the other is also the language, how you communicate. So ideally, we would like to be able to judge a few sample chapters as well. But for nonfiction, it's not as compelling a need as, say, in fiction, where you are pretty much driven by the quality of the writing. So, I mean,
but I had a follow-up question to that, because that's an impression I've had and I wanted to clear it up. Is that let's say I've written the first 3 chapters and I've got the synopsis and I've got the query letter. Should I just approach you with that much, even if I don't have a manuscript in place? Or should I only approach you once the full MS is done? For
fiction or for nonfiction?
For both, what would be the answer for each?
Okay. So for nonfiction, like I said, because it's all factual and it's much simpler to have a structure in place. You could do that with, some sample chapters and an outline and the sense of what research goes into it. For fiction, we we prefer to see a significant amount of the manuscript. But having said that, I mean, we do also evaluate on the basis of the first. So how it works is we will evaluate on the basis of the first 3 chapters. If we like it, we'll ask for more. And as and when the author is ready with more, he or she will share more, and then we'll come back on whether we think we can take it on or not.
So, but I have a hypothetical situation. I sent you a synopsis. I sent you in an excerpt, the first 8,000 words. You say it's great, and then you say, okay, send me the manuscript, and the author disappears for 6 months. Is that a downer, or is that okay?
That's okay. I mean, as long as the author says, look, I'll be back when I've completed this, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Cool. That's great. Richard has a question. Do agents accept standalone short stories as well, or do they only accept proposals for novels?
I think what we are looking for is something that actually adds up to a book length. So one standalone short story is not going to be published. Novellas are published, but they are few and far between. But if you have a collection of short stories, we'd be happy to look at that. So I think look at it in terms of what actually makes a book. You have to have a sense of, a minimum number of words for it to be able to be picked up by a publisher.
All right. Mohit has a question saying, if I'm writing about something which is not my area of expertise, like he's a jeweler and he's writing about sociology and philosophy, is that okay? Or will you even look at it, or will you just turn it off?
So the jeweler can be very invested in sociology and philosophy, and we'd be happy to look at it. I think it really is the quality of the writing and the subject and the research.
Okay. There is, of course, questions about how do you, Nandita has a question about, do you have to submit the full manuscript or sample chapters? So we've already discussed that at length for fiction, non-fiction, both. Another question, how do I send my non-fiction work to you? Mohit, again, I would reiterate, you should make sure that it's a full proposal package. So you can't just send the manuscript. It has to be the query letter, the synopsis and the excerpt. Namrita, can you share that third blog post of ours? There's a blog post we have which talks about how to approach a literary agent, in which we talk about these essential pieces. So you can look at that, prepare your packet. There's that ancient saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So make sure that what you're sending out is completely free of typos and absolutely spick and span, because I'm sure Himali's team has lots of people approaching them. What's the process to approach you though, Himali? The best way is the website for
the best way is the website. Our submissions at asuitableagency.com, and that's pretty much how we get all proposals. And like I said, we look at every email that comes to that ID. It's submissions at asuitableagency.com.
Okay. Sachin has a question saying, do you have a specific wish list for this year? Are you open to genre fiction, which is crime or science fiction, SFF?
Yeah. I think and like I said at the beginning, we don't want to have predetermined genres in mind. We are looking for good books and good writing, and that's why we also have a very, very diverse list. I mean, we signed a work of speculative fiction, which wasn't there on our initial sort of list when we were thinking about it. So I think what we said was we'll just evaluate a book on the basis of how it stands. So no, we're not excluding or going after any particular genres. We are open across genres.
Shankar has an interesting question. As agents, do you vet for plagiarism, or is that a problem that agents address only when a controversy comes up?
That's an interesting question. And frankly, I think this is also something that publishers consider. But having said that, there is a level of trust that you work on when you're signing up with an author. And these are conversations that happen in great detail. We have a sense of the originality of the work, but are we following a scientific process at the moment? No. I think we are trusting an author, and because we are having very detailed and very individual conversations, we do have a sense.
Right.
But that is something that I think you're right. A lot of it is also a response to a particular situation. But because we work with so few books, or we work selectively with a list, we do have a sense of that.
Chetan, can I have just one follow-up question, because I didn't put it fully. when I talk about plagiarism, I'm also thinking of if you read a manuscript that to you sounds similar in concept to something else that's already out there, and you feel that, this is too similar to that, and it's very possible that you didn't plagiarize, but the fact is that we don't think this is going to work. Is that something you tell the writer, saying that this is too similar to X that came out? Or
well, in terms of non-fiction, people can approach a subject differently. In terms of fiction, if we think there's, there are too many resonances, or it actually is too familiar in terms of another writer's work, then we would have that conversation, yes.
okay, thanks, boss.
All right. There's some basic questions. Mohit has asked, should it be PDF or Word? Somebody's asked, should there be, what is a query letter? Please look at the blog post. We'll be wasting Himali's time asking questions like that.
Also, to say the query letter needn't be this intimidating document. It's basically, 3 paras or 1 page will do. I think the idea of a query letter is that you are actually putting forward your vision for the book and a synopsis of the book. So it's not daunting, but it just helps agents make up their minds and gives them that information quicker, because there are so many submissions that we also look at. And honestly, no agent is going to be able to go through a full submission without understanding or without getting a sense of the synopsis or, more details. So that it's just helpful to have that.
Sure. Shalini, your question about nonfiction and the complete proposal has already been answered. You can submit a nonfiction with an excerpt, even if the complete proposal is not in place, manuscript is not in place. Subi has an interesting question saying, what is the chance of a novella being accepted by publishers in India?
There have been a few novellas that have been published in the recent past. Again, I would say that if the writing is fantastic and if it is something that both an agent and a publisher feel very invested in, they would. So, it's not that they don't, but yeah, novellas tend to be published not as much as, say, full-length novels.
Right. Okay. Do you also consider non-English, or is it only English stuff that you take right
At the moment, only English, because we don't have the experts to evaluate nonfiction at this point.
Sai, I'm not sure I understand your question. What do you mean by recommend proposals to writers? Maybe you can elaborate. I have a question for you, Himali, which is, increasingly, I think that there is a lot of benefit in, the digital world, like the Amazon KDP world and print publishing are becoming very distinct. And Amazon KDP requires a whole other set of marketing skills. Now, if I'm a writer and I believe that I can really market very effectively on Amazon, is it possible for me to retain Kindle rights and have the traditional publisher only do the print part for me? Or is that not likely?
See, I think a lot of publishers now want the e-rights alongside. E and audio have sort of become almost, part of the whole deal that's offered.
Yeah.
So I would say that perhaps an idea would be to have that conversation with the publisher to see what their plans for E are. And if there's any sort of synergy that you can derive there. I think in general, publishers prefer to have e-rights as well. At least the larger publishers do.
Let me flip the question. If I've already published on Kindle,
yes,
and then I want now to consider, have a traditional publisher look at it. Is that okay? Does that reduce the chances of my book being considered, or does that increase?
No, I think there have been a couple of cases of authors publishing on Kindle and then going on to find traditional publishers. That happens. I don't think that's a problem.
But is that an instance where, let's say I've published on Kindle and I've been able to sell 5,000 books? Does that make the proposal stronger? Or does that have an impact at all?
It does, because what it shows is a definite readership for your book. So I think if you have a book that has actually done well on Kindle, a publisher will look at it favorably, and publishers are also looking at different formats and different voices and how they're accepted. So absolutely.
Okay, cool. There's another interesting question. Is there a minimum word count that you look at as a publisher? That a publisher will consider.
I think, like I said, a book length is usually anything upwards of, say, in an illustrated book, it could be as low as 30,000. In work of narrative fiction or non-fiction, it could be more. But again, I think what these things do is sort of compartmentalize and define it according to a certain way. In the case of novellas have been published with much fewer words, say between 15 to 20,000 words. But typically a full-length book would be anything upwards of, say, I would say around maybe 35,000 words upwards.
Okay.
Children's books tend to be shorter because they also factor in illustrations.
Sure. All right. Tools that track for plagiarism, I'd ask you to Google that. What is your current acceptance rate of manuscripts?
It's, I have to say, like I had mentioned earlier, we are quite selective. We have at the end of year one signed 15 books, and we are in the process of signing a few more. If it is something that interests us, then we definitely will have a conversation. But we are going to remain committed to doing a certain number of books so that we can invest ourselves fully in that book. Because contrary to what people think, that an agent's job ends with the book finding a publisher, it actually does not end there. There's a long journey that goes on, right from audio to to language rights to international. So we have a fair number of submissions coming in, but we will always keep to a certain number, which is for us manageable and something that we are fully invested in.
Okay, great. We have just 2 minutes left. I'm going to try and wrap up a couple of more questions. So Sai's clarified her question, saying, do literary agents also recommend story ideas to writers?
Yes,
Or do publishers?
very much. Okay. Very much. So one of the books that actually I'm very excited about is this Amitava Kumar's The Blue Book, which is a selection of his illustrations. He's a beautiful illustrator. It's fantastic. I mean, his work is like really evocative. And this was something that I noticed he was putting up on social media. He'd put up these really beautiful paintings. And so we spoke about it, and he was interested, but he was like, but how do we see a book emerging from this? And we said, why don't we do something that is about, a writer's journal through the pandemic and beyond? So it's this beautiful sort of, collection of illustrations and paintings alongside his musings. So that's an idea that actually we came up with. And we're so pleased that he was open to it. And similarly, there are other books and other ideas that we are constantly thinking of. And we go to writers asking if they'd be interested in that.
But so this would usually be established writers.
This would usually be writers who, for nonfiction, we know have had some sort of, well, not necessarily established writers. It could be someone who's maybe a reporter who we think might be able to do a full-length book on the subject.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it could be anyone we think who can actually see a book through with a certain idea. In fiction, I have to say it tends to be a bit more, it's a bit different because it really is led by the writer and the voice. But non-fiction ideas, we can take to people we think would be able to do justice to the idea.
All right, great. I'm just going to take one last question, and then we'll just chat a little bit about the First Draft Club. But there's one interesting question here. So do you also help authors in republishing a book?
In terms of if you have the rights back and you would like to publish the book again, when you say republishing, what do you mean?
Yeah, Himali, this is Sujata. And I just want to know if you help authors in republishing. My book was published in 2015. I have got the rights back, and book is also available on Kindle. So I want to approach a literary agent or a publisher directly. I don't know which one should I do. Is it a good idea to do, or should I wait for my next manuscript, which is also getting ready in a couple of months? And how should what is your advice?
It was with a traditional publisher and then you got the rights back?
Yes, yes.
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, these are very individual cases, but absolutely you should approach a literary agent or a publisher and give the history of it. I'm sure there is a reason for which you've got rights reverted, and they will, if it comes to us, for instance, we will evaluate it on the basis of the manuscript and the book. And if the rights are with you and the rights are clean, then of course you can approach an agent or a publisher.
Okay. Okay, so my publisher has given in an email that he gives me the right. Is that enough, or I need to do something more?
That should be enough. That means the
Okay.
rights have been reverted to you, but you should have an official communication from your publisher on that.
Okay, fine. Thank
All right, great.
you
Well,
very much. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Himali, for answering all those questions. That was quite an avalanche. We just have 8 minutes left. So I just wanted to make a couple of quick announcements, folks. The first is, we had initially said that the First Draft Club again will meet only in November, but there has been actually practically a deluge of people who've come to us saying they want it to happen again sooner. So we've decided that we are going to do another one in September. I am happy only because it means more money going to the Chirag School. This batch, all of you have donated a total of 43,000 rupees that has gone to the Chirag School, which has been incredible. That's like 2 kids' education for an entire year. So we will be doing, an NFDC again in September, which was not our plan. The form is out. Namrata, if you could share the link on the WhatsApp, please tell people who are interested, people who might benefit, people that you might know, and that will be great. The second thing was that there was a request for an editing workshop to be done immediately after this. We've slotted the 7th of August for the editing workshop. I had just one question saying, do you want to, so can you share the poll, Namrata? I just one question saying, do you want it to be just editing, or do we want editing and research? Because what I've done in the past is one particular workshop which is on editing and research. So we could do that, or we could do editing only. So if you could just help us with the poll, then we'll plan it accordingly, and we'll continue on this path. So with those, are you able to share the poll, Namrata? Yeah, she's just sharing it across, and then we can chat a quick little bit about how is everybody's writing going. This is the last week. We're on the 25th, so the bulk of the month is done. I'm sure Ram will do the math and tell us, based on how many words have been written so far, how many manuscripts it adds up to. Ram, do you have a number for us? You're on mute.
So we are at 270,000 words. So that's like about, I think, 60,000 words. That's about four to five books we are.
4 to 5 books that we've written collectively over the last
and
25
bizarrely, counterintuitively, Saturday and Sundays are the days when people are notching up the least word count.
Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah.
All right. So, Namrata, if we don't have the poll, what I can do is we can just do a show of hands. I can't hear you.
Yeah, that would be easier for me at the moment.
Okay, all right. So how many people are interested in research? Can you just do a show of hands? And how many people are interested in learning editing only? Okay, so it seems to be predominantly towards editing, not so much about research, right? Okay, all right, cool. So we'll just go with editing. We'll skip the research part of it. All right, great. So thanks again, Himali. It's been a real education. You can expect to hear